guys, it's Elle. Welcome back to my channel. And today I'm going to be chatting about some books that you need to read before the end of the year. So if you haven't read these yet, you need to, because these books are amazing and I have loved so many on this list, like top reads of the year, and I just wanted to compile a list of them for y'all so you could get to them before the end of the year, because some of these are my all-time favorites. And I'm also going to be making a video of books that I need to read before the end of the year, and I am just in this like weird funk where I feel like I'm so busy and distracted where I can't just like sit down and read, and I really need to do that. So I'm going to be starting Five Brothers today by Penelope Douglas, and hopefully it will help me get back in physically reading mode, because I've just been listening to a ton of audiobooks lately. But anyways, let's get right into this video. The first book I want to talk about is Beating Heart by Laura Pavlov. I recently listened to this one on audio and it was fantastic. I love this one. I think this is the fourth book in the Magnolia Falls series, and this one follows our heroine, who is a doctor, and she is coming new to town to be a doctor at this local practice, and the hero's son is a patient of hers, and she gets there and the hero is just like, absolutely not, she cannot, you know, be the new doctor for my son. He's very particular because he's the only person in his son's life, like parental figure, and so he's just super protective over his son. And we have seen him and his son throughout the whole series. His name is Beefcake, like the son's nickname, and it's so funny. And her and the son instantly kind of have this connection, and the hero's son has asthma, so it like asthma attacks and it kind of ramps up at certain moments, so they're trying to put together a plan for him, and so they're just having to be around each other all the time. And they also become neighbors when she moves into town, so it's kind of like Grumpy Sunshine a little bit, and Dislike to Love, Single Dad, Small Town Romance. It was fantastic. I love this one. It was just so good, and I love Laura Pavlov's romances, and this one was amazing. Then I have Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver. I recently listened to this one on audio as well. It was fantastic. So the heroine, she is a lot like Will, I feel like, from Heartless by Elsie Silver. And so she is a famous musician, and she's coming to the small town to kind of get away and also write music with one of the previous heroes from the previous book. And so she first like has this really awkward meet cute with the hero where she is trying to take pictures of like a bear for her Instagram to get views, and she almost gets into a serious like dangerous encounter situation, and the hero is like, why are you doing this? Like, this is so unsafe, like you should not be doing this. And it's absolutely hilarious, by the way. It was just so funny. And that's kind of their meet cute. And the hero is a single dad, and so we kind of see her relationship with his kid, and it was just so good. I loved this. It was just hilarious. They have to be around each other because he is like best friends with the hero from the previous book, and so the hero from the previous book is a producer, and so I think she also was like living near the hero, I think, maybe. I don't honestly remember, but it was just hilarious. So many laugh out loud moments. Small town, single dad, and both of his kids are absolutely adorable. It was just such a good romance. I love this one. The next romance I have is Delicate Escape by Catherine Cowles. This is her newest release. It was absolutely fantastic. I love this one so much. So the heroine has been on the run for years, and she finally settled in Sparrow Falls. She is just very traumatized from her past, especially her abusive ex. And so she has come to the small town to kind of like reclaim her life and kind of start a new life as well. And so the hero is brothers with one of her good friends, and so they just keep running into each other. And she has like a leak at her house, and she doesn't want anybody to help her, and the hero is kind of like, I can help you for free, and they kind of just start like a friendship very tentatively, and she's very scared of letting people in. And so it was kind of this slow burn process of her letting him in and them trying things together. Like, they would have these really cute dates on her porch, and she has a dog, no, she has a cat, and so they would like spend time together with her animals, and it was just so adorable. I love this one. And of course there is the romantic suspense that Catherine loves to do in her romances, and it was really, really fun and like intriguing, and like I did not know where this romance was going to go. It was just so fast paced and just like slow burn goodness, and also like a who did this to you trope as well, because there's a moment where she is in a really dangerous situation and she gets hurt, and he is just like, who did this to you? Like, you're hurt, like I want to go after them. And it is just a fantastic romance. I love this one. You definitely need to go pick this up. Then I have The Devil in the Deep Blue Sea by Elizabeth O'Rourke. I've talked about this book so many times on this channel because it is just so fantastic. So the heroine is going on a trip with her ex-boyfriend's family to Hawaii, and she's just so like apprehensive about it. She doesn't even know why she's kind of doing it, but her ex-boyfriend kind of convinced her, and he ends up not being able to go on the trip. So she has to spend like 2 weeks with his family, and especially his older brother she cannot stand, and that ends up being the hero. And the hero is a doctor, and the heroine is actually a famous pop star. And so throughout the trip they have to go on excursions together, and they just like absolutely cannot stand each other. But then there's these like little moments where they're in like dangerous situations, and he kind of like saves her at points and like actually shows that he cares about her. And I just love that. And it's kind of like slow burn angst, slowly from like hate to love to like forming a friendship kind of, and then to love. And it is just so good. I love this one. It is super angsty because they just have such different lives, and it's like, how can they be together type thing, and it is just a fantastic romance. I highly, highly recommend this one. Then I have The Fake Mate by Lana Ferguson. I just adore this one. It was just so cute and spicy and just a fun, good time. And so the plot of this one is that it is set in a Omegaverse world, and the hero and heroine are both doctors at the same hospital, and she's an Omega and he is an Alpha, and there's a lot of like discourse around alphas in the community right now. And so they end up having to fake date because she kind of wants to get her family off of her back, and he wants it because he wants some security, I think, like being an alpha and stuff, especially with like the board of like the hospital, and there's all this like kind of complicated things happening. And so they start fake dating and pretend that they are mates, and it is so good. And they have to really play it up because like being a mate is a super serious big deal, and it was just so good. And I love like all of these spicy scenes. It gets very spicy and hot in this one, and it was just, it's so good. And I love the audiobook of this one, and the hero is just so sweet and so cinnamon roll, and I just really enjoyed this one. The next book on this list is Through the Glen by Samantha Young. This one is set in Scotland and set in this like beautiful manor in the Scottish Highlands, and the heroine, she works there, I think it's like a housekeeper, and that's where she meets the hero. And the hero is a billionaire who's also a filmmaker, film producer, and so she has a secret series under a secret pen name that she wants to get published into a TV series. And so she comes to him with this idea, and he's like, no. And she ends up actually leaving the job at the manor, and so she ends up staying in this like small town in this like cottage, and he goes to visit her because he reads her books and like figures out who she is. And she's like deathly ill, and so he kind of takes care of her, and it's like caretaking vibes. And then they end up working together, where he is working on the TV screenplay for the first season, and she's working on the next book in the series. And they start hanging out, and she's very innocent and like hasn't done a lot of things sexually, and so they kind of start exploring that. And it was just really good. I really enjoyed this one. I love this series. It is a fantastic series. It's so good, and there's also a little suspense element in this one. It's just fantastic. I highly recommend this series. It's so good. A lot of these romances are very angsty, filled with tension, and I love the forced proximity aspect of this one, especially with them having to stay in the cottage together. And the last book on this list is Serpentine Valentine. I love this book so much. It was just amazing. It was so good. I just love Gianna Darling, and this is a kind of dark academia sapphic romance. So the heroine, Lex, she is sexually assaulted on campus and basically left for dead, and she tried to go to the headmaster with what happened and explain what happened and like once, you know, to press charges and all this stuff against the professor. And she's basically like, that didn't happen, that couldn't have happened. So now it is a year later, and Lex is coming back to university to basically get revenge. And so she starts going after the headmaster's daughter, Luna, and they kind of start having like a kind of situationship type thing. And there's just a lot of like aspects of this romance, like the dark academia aspect, the revenge plot, but it does deal with a lot of like female rage and like the misjustices of when something like this happens, and like not, you know, being believed about something that you knew happened to you. So it's just like explores so many different things, and I just love the vibes of this one. It's a perfect read for fall, very spooky vibes, and it is just such a great romance. I'm just so glad that Gianna Darling wrote a sapphic romance. I love sapphic romances when I read them, and this one is just perfection. It's so good. Definitely go pick it up. All right, so well, that is the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed hearing me chat about all of the romances that I think you should read before the end of the year, and I want to thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.
I was never the one to write up a song for just anyone. I was always the one to find myself lost in long conversations, oh, 'cause I've always been told that things will unfold if you